All right, welcome everybody. Not sure if you voted or not, but I don't want to talk about that. We're talking about something else. Uh, let's talk about building safety. Lance Luke, Martin Pea here, part of Ask the Building Expert webinar series. We're continuing our conversation about the subject. Very important. Thanks for joining us. Those are of you who are on our Zoom platform. I see a bunch of names that you guys are religiously following us, which is a good thing. We appreciate that. And then as well as people tuning in on our various social media accounts, such as Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. I don't know what else, but we're sharing the information. And this is a pretty important topic on building safety. So let me breeze through these couple of slides before we get started here. Oh, by the way, the top photo is me and Jack Canfield. We just recently published a book along with maybe 23 other business owners. So if you want a copy, a PDF, let me know and we'll email it to you. Free. You don't have to pay. Although if you want the hard copy, it's on Amazon for 24.95 or something like that. So part of Ask the Building Expert, we want to delve into hot topics and important information for you to know to help condo owners, homeowners, real estate developers, attorneys, real estate agents, anybody. So we're always here to help. And this webinar is presented by Construction Management Inspection, which is a construction management and inspection company located in Hawaii, although we do have work different parts of the mainland. So here we go. This is why we need to be proactive. We need to pay attention to fixing our buildings when they need to be fixed, inspecting as many times as we need to prevent these kind of problems, such as railing wall collapsing at a Waikiki hotel. And then I got a picture of the Florida building collapse. And I'm pretty sure that if the building had their various components fixed up, they wouldn't have such a collapse like this. So I don't have the hard evidence, but I'm pretty sure once the report's issued, it's going to be discovered that they had a lot of concrete failures, concrete spalling, corroded rebar, and things like that to cause a collapse. A building doesn't just fall apart and fall down on its own. So that's part of the takeaway today. So recently, a railing fell off a popular hotel in Hawaii. It lands on Waikiki Beach. Fortunately, no one got hurt. It was on the fifth floor, and instead of metal railing, it was a whole concrete wall that fell. So the wall was actually used as a railing. That's how the building was designed. And I probably got to the scene about maybe within an hour or so after the accident happened because it was on the news and the news called me, so I went to check it out. And uh, I guess they're in the process of fixing or inspecting all the lanais and railings and all that, which is a good thing. But this is a reason why we need to be proactive to prevent accidents. And fortunately, nobody got injured, but there's situations where people did suffer injuries and even death caused by building failures. And probably talk a little about that as we go through So the big question that I have is, do you have a inspection program? Does your building have an inspection program? And if so, what kind of program does it have? Does it have like, I think you should go check out, walk around the building and go look. Okay, every once in a while when we feel like doing that? Or is there uh, a formal inspection program in place where the building manager or whoever is in charge is required to go and walk around all the common areas of the building and fill out a formal report? Now, it's one thing to do an inspection, and it's another thing to actually fill out a report and document things and keep the report on file. And if you have a written report, you can refer to it. And if it says, oh, this railing has rust on it, or looks like one area of the building, the paint's peeling off, well, then you transfer those items on a to-do list, repair and maintenance list. It doesn't make any sense to fill out an inspection report and just file it away saying, okay, we did that. Okay, now, the inspection program also applies to people who own their own house. So although we're talking about buildings, right? High-rise buildings, townhouse buildings, commercial properties such as shopping centers, office buildings, apartment buildings, we're also talking about your house that you live in, a single family house or duplex or something like that. Do you have an inspection program on your own? If so, I think you should, because if you don't, and then you all of a sudden you walk around your house 10 years later and you go, oh, I didn't know that there was wood rot here or termite damage, or looks like we need a new paint job, or um, I think our nosing of our stairs are inside the house is kind of getting loose, things like that. So it's always good to pay attention to these things. You don't want to drive a car, right? You get in your car, you put the keys in, start it up and drive away. And you keep doing that without checking the oil, checking your tires, even checking to see if your windshield wiper works or your horn works or something like that, right? And that's a car. We're talking about a house or building, which is worth way more than a car, right? So be proactive. So the first thing that I want to point out is you have to have some kind of an inspection program. And if you don't have one, it's pretty easy to put one in place, right? If you don't know the components that you need to inspect, let us know. We'll send you one of our templates, inspection report templates that you can use, right? Just to help you along. And the main things that you're going to look for is obvious signs of, roofing, your foundation, your main structure, electrical and plumbing. Those are the main things. Okay, so make sure you have an inspection program. If you don't, I would kind of set one in place so you can have some kind of guideline. And then you have a worksheet, so like a calendar. Said, oh, we inspected it. Oh, I guess the month went by so fast we didn't inspect our building this month. Okay, then you gotta get on and get with the program, right? And why am I saying inspection program and inspection? Okay, not only to maintain the building, but for liability purposes, because if someone gets hurt, one of the first things that, besides the person filing a claim and maybe suing the property owner and manager, the attorney is going to hire what's called an expert witness, right? So somebody like me, I could be called to go in and look at the property and render an opinion. And a lot of times the opinion is not good. I mean, it's good for the person got injured, but it's not good for the property owner. And what do we ask for? When I'm on a legal case, I ask for all documentation, any inspection reports within the past 2 years. Okay, I want to see every report. I want to see who did it, who's qualified, are they qualified, who did it? Did the maintenance man do it? Did the property manager do it? Did the general manager? Did a condo board member do it? And then also, what exactly is on the list? If on the list it says corroded railing, and then the next year it says corroded railing too, and nobody fixed it, and then that's the cause of the accident, that's already a red flag, right? So it's not going to look good. So that's why you want to document things, because if someone slips and falls or gets hurt, you pull out your inspection program and said, hey, we've been inspecting it every month. And here's what we did. We coated the walkway. We made, it not slippery. Okay, so it might be something else. So the more documentation you can provide to support that you've been taking care of the property, that's better. Let's talk about some key fire life safety components. Okay. And this applies to your own house too. If you live in a single family house or duplex, a townhouse, high-rise condominium, or uh, you work in an office building or warehouse, fire alarms, smoke alarms, make sure they're tested and make sure they work. Smoke detectors, if your building has fire sprinklers, fire extinguishers, make sure they're tested and they work. You can always look at the label. They should have a label that has the date when it was last tested. So if you look at the label and you see a date, February 2020, that might be not so good, right? They might be behind. Or maybe they did have an inspection done in 2023 or 2024, but they missed putting the tag on. And then emergency lighting signage. Why is that important? Well, in case of a fire or there's a power outage and you got your enclosed hallways, it's dark, you can't see, right? So if there's a fire or something happened and you need to escape, you got to know, where the escape route is. Where's the emergency stairway if it's pitch black? How do you know, right? Where to go? Is it like on what side of the building is it on? Is it on both sides of the building? How do we get to it, right? So the signage is important. Even in a power outage, the signage for emergency exits should still be on, still be lit. Either a backup battery or maybe an emergency generator, things like that. So there's a lot of different fire life safety components in a building. In a house, you have your maybe smoke alarm, and hopefully you have a fire extinguisher. Houses on the mainland that are being built brand new, they have a whole fire sprinkler system in the house. Okay, so it all depends. If you do not have a fire sprinkler system in your house, and most homes don't have one, at least have a fire extinguisher somewhere in your house that you can use to put out a fire. Okay, and then also have your evacuation plan and all that. So we're talking about building safety. Be safe. Okay. What else do we have? Some more life safety components that they're not fire, but they're life safety. Concrete spalling, which is cracks in the concrete so bad that pieces of concrete can start falling off a building or falling off the foundation of your house. Loose or corroded railing. That's very important. Leaky roofs. Why is a leaky roof a safety concern? Well, you got water leaking from the roof now into the building or into your house. And it could damage a lot of components in the house. And then also leaking drain pipes. Can you imagine living in a high-rise building? You're on the 23rd floor, and all of a sudden you see sewage water dripping from your ceiling, and you're going, "Oh, this is not good." You call the manager, and the manager says, "Oh yeah, we know about it. We just got a report of somebody on the 15th floor where water's dripping down." So then you figure, "Wow, must be a big leak for it to drip down 20 floors, right?" So if you look at this picture, you have a metal railing, and this is a guardrail. And if you look at the top, it looks pretty much intact, right? But then you look at the bottom where it meets the concrete, all that black area, that black stuff, that's actually rust, corrosion. So the metal of the post, the metal pipe for the railing had rusted out. And over time, uh, it just got painted over and over again. And that's why you see these big chunks of uh, missing paint. You know, that's partly corrosion and partly paint. And what happened is that pipe that's embedded in the concrete, okay, there's a little concrete curb. It was corroded into the concrete, and water was getting in, and the concrete was cracking. So you can't see it, but if you took an X-ray or if we chipped out areas of concrete, you can see how moisture was inside and the concrete was cracked and pretty much not stable. That's why this railing had collapsed, because of this condition. So very important to have inspections done. And when there's corrosion on metal, don't just paint over it. You have to get rid of the corrosion. And if it's so bad, you have to cut out the pipe and replace it with a new pipe. A very important. Some more life safety components. Let's talk about trip and fall and slip and fall. Now, a lot of people, when they hear, well, it's a trip and fall or slip and fall, it means the same thing, but it really doesn't. Okay, so the slip and fall means that somebody actually slipped on the walking surface. Okay, they slipped because the surface was too slippery. Either it was wet or it was covered in oil or it was too smooth or something like that. Okay. And then the trip doesn't have to be wet. It could be tripping over a rock or tripping over a tree root or tripping over concrete, a walkway that's not level. Okay, so if you look at the image here, you see the concrete is not level. This is not, it's not built for stairs. What happened was the lower portion had sunken. It used to be level, but due to ground movement, it kind of sank. So whenever somebody slips, if they can't get their balance, then they're going to fall to the ground. Same way with somebody tripping, they'll trip and fall. And that's why it's called slip and fall or a trip and fall. Now, there's another item where somebody falls and it could be considered a trip or a slip if they fall on stairs. Okay? So if they fall stairs, and it doesn't matter how many steps there are. It could be 3, it could be 5, it could be 10. Depends on the person. They could get seriously injured. It could be a child, it could be a elderly person, or it could be a perfectly healthy person that tripped, fell, hit their head or hit some other part of their body and got seriously injured. Now, that's why the key is hand railing and guard railing. So when there's a property inspection that's done, you got to inspect your hand railing, guard railing. Not only look at it, grab it, shake it, um, see if it's sturdy. Very important. If you're living in a single family house and you have two stories or more, is your handrail loose? Grab it. Is it such that you can actually grab it? Sometimes on the older houses, the rail is so wide that it's hard to grab on. That's actually a safety issue too. So make sure it's grabbable. You know, like the grab bars inside a shower for elderly person. You know, you have to be able to grab it. It can't be like a 2x4 piece or larger where you can't wrap your hand around it. So be aware of trip and fall, slip and fall. The reason why I'm letting you guys know this is because there have been many cases of accidents happening. And when the person gets injured, they're going to sue, right? They're going to get an attorney. And if they suffered injuries, they're going to sue the property owner, the building, the property manager, anybody who has anything to do with maintaining and owning the property. Okay, so that's a huge liability. Some other factors to be aware of is unsafe windows. You got like jalousie glass in the old style where there's metal clips, and over time the hardware doesn't work. The handle doesn't work, so you got to grab the glass to close the window, and then the clips that hold the glass slats come loose. They get worn out over time. They get bigger, and now you got these pieces of glass falling out. And there's high-rise buildings where glass just falls out and lands on the parking deck below. And it's a good thing people don't get seriously hurt because of that. Falling glass. There's condo buildings, high-rise condo buildings all over the United States that have the same situation. In Hawaii alone, I know there's apartment buildings, hotels, older hotels, and older condos that have jalousie windows, which are considered unsafe because the glass can just fall out. Okay. And the glass isn't safety glass. It's not tempered, so when it cracks, it leaves these sharp pieces. Okay. Also, another thing is outdated electrical system or electrical system that's old. Okay, so when I use the term outdated, what does that really mean? That means it's old and it's time for at least somebody, some professional to conduct an inspection, right? Now, you could say, oh, well, we never had any power outage. We never had anything that doesn't work. So if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of deal. Said that's not how it works. In fact, there's actually a law that requires electrical inspections, similar to having your elevator inspected or similar to having your fire sprinkler or fire alarm inspected and tested. If you look at the picture on the right, it's a distribution panel, electrical, and you see all those brown stains, corrosion. That's actually rust drip stains because this component is located in a basement parking area, and they had a leak and water was just dripping down their electrical equipment. So can you imagine going and looking at the equipment during heavy rain and all of a sudden you see water just flowing down like someone turned the faucet on? And this is electrical. So as you know, water and electricity doesn't mix, right? So it's kind of kind of scary, right? So you would want, if this is your building, wouldn't you want an inspection done? At least to say, well, everything looks good. Fortunately, no water got inside. You're good for now. Or, wow, water got inside. Your wiring is like ready to short out. I think you need some repair work. Okay, so you would want to know that, because what happens is if you can't see it, and all of a sudden there's a power outage and it affects, one or more buildings in the complex. Now, how do you fix it? Now it becomes an emergency, okay? Which you end up paying more money because you got to bring in a emergency generator and pay people overtime uh, to find out what the cause is and fix the problem. So when we talk about property inspections, right, we want to make sure that we have inspections done, right, and you have a program. Okay, I mentioned it before, and you want to have an inspection program. You want to set dates of when you're going to inspect it. In fact, an entire complex, you might have a series of inspection programs, right, and certain components. This component, this list of components you inspect every 6 months. Here's another list you inspect every month. Now we want someone to walk through every day or every week, right? So you have different types of inspections. Also, um, you want to have your program where you have a report, a written report that's done, not somebody walking around and, oh yeah, I inspected it. Okay. And then here's the thing, whoever's going to do inspections, right? And fill out a written report, make sure to take photos. So you want photos showing what was inspected. You want photos, specific photos showing what things need to be repaired, what things were on the list, okay? And you attach the photos to the report. That's not hard. So when I do an inspection, I may have 10 photos, I may have 500 photos, depends on what components I'm inspecting. And that becomes a whole report. It doesn't matter if you have 3-ring binders of inspection reports with photos, right? And then the photos are good because if there's things that need to be repaired, you have the photos already. Oh yeah, we notice concrete cracks here and there. You hire a contractor to fix it. You send them the photos, or you go and do a walkthrough with them and say, okay, here's the photos of things that need to be done. Okay, so it doesn't hurt to do complete documentation. So many times I go to a building and they say they have an inspection program, and they do, but it's haphazard. It's whenever they feel like it. Okay. And then I say, well, do you have like a way to report it? Yeah, we have these handwritten sheets. Okay, well, do you have any photos? Oh, no, not really. Okay, so we want to get everybody up to the same page. We want to raise the level of performance here with the inspection program, with a written report, with photos. So you can transfer what things need to be done. If it's HVAC, if it's electrical, and you need to hire a contractor, okay, then you have the list for the contractor. Okay. When they come, they may have their own list, but at least you started it. How about repair and maintenance program? So we talked about an inspection program, right? Inspection reports. After that, now there's a repair and maintenance program. So a lot of you have in-house, right? You have your in-house staff. Um, if you don't, then you contract with a third-party vendor, licensed contractors, right, to do different things. So you make sure that you have both an inspection program and a repair and maintenance program. And a lot of times when I go and talk to homeowners and I tell them about inspection program, they don't have any. Repair and maintenance program, yes, we have one. Oh, so can you tell me about it? Oh yeah, when something doesn't work, then we have it fixed. Okay, but don't you want to get a little ahead of the game and maybe try to fix something before it breaks if you're aware, right? So um, make sure your buildings have a repair and maintenance program, and it's solid. It's in writing. It's in a three-ring binder. If the building owner, property manager, or a condo board member wants to see it, you whip it out and say, "Here's the binder. You know, we're all up to date." And that's a pretty good feeling to have that done. Now, the reason I know that this isn't done is when I go around inspecting buildings and I see problems, I know already they don't have a solid repair and maintenance program. Or if they do, they're not getting stuff fixed. Okay, so you want to have the repair and maintenance and inspection program all together, all solid, documentation, safekeeping in three-ring binders. So if there's an accident, you pull it out and it shows that you did your job. The worst thing that can happen is, oh, we didn't inspect it and we didn't maintain it. That's a huge liability. Let's talk about condos. Okay, so what I mentioned is inspection reports and repair and maintenance programs. In a condo, okay, it's not like a single family house. Like, oh, if you don't want to inspect, you don't have to, or if you don't want to fix your house, you don't have to. In a condo, in the condominium world, there's specific condominium laws that require inspections and repairs. Okay, so specific to Hawaii, and I know some of you attending, you're not living in Hawaii. You could be living, in other parts of the United States or even around the world. You might check into your own specific condominium law, but for the most part, the condo law requires repair and maintenance. Now, in Hawaii, there's called governing documents, condominium governing documents, or condominium uh, documentation and declaration bylaws and other such documents where it's required of the board, the condo board, to maintain the property. It's not if they feel like it, and it's not if there's no money, they don't have to do it. Okay, there's no provision in the condo law that says if the association does not have any money, the board does not have to fix anything. It's the opposite. Okay, the board's required. The board members have a duty. If there's no money, they have to get the money. And how do they get it? They're going to have either a special assessment, or they're going to have to try and get the majority of the owners to agree to get a loan, to pay for repairs. So the actual law in Hawaii is HRS 514B. It's Hawaii Revised Statutes 514B. And if you read it, it's pretty clear. There's a requirement of the duty of board members to maintain the property. Okay. No ifs, ands, or buts. They have to do it. Okay. What does that mean? Maintain the property. That means fixing the property up if there's any problem. Okay. If the paint's peeling on the building wall, if you see concrete cracks, if you see experience window leaking, pipes leaking because your pipe's old electrical system, your roof hasn't been repaired, your parking lot has potholes in it, um, things like that. It's required. A lot of condominium owners think that they don't have to force the issue, but they can, because it's in the law. It's in the law and it's in your documentation of your condo. Okay, no matter how old the condo is, it still has to be compliant with the current condominium law. Okay, there's no grandfathering in not maintaining or repairing your building. Okay, that's if there's one thing that you take away if you live in a condo from this webinar is get get on your board to get your building fixed up. Okay, there's no excuse. Okay, in addition to your condo law and your governing documents, there's also what's called the building code. So there's building code requirements, and there's various building codes. It's not only one code, but um, the term building code actually incorporates all these other codes. So IBC, International Building Code, IPC, International Plumbing Code. There's a fire code, residential code, electrical code. There's all these codes, right? And then there's also the federal HUD, Housing and Urban Development Minimum Standards. And in addition to that, there's also state and federal law, as well as city and county laws. So there's a lot of requirements, believe it or not. Um, if I pull up all the requirements to force the issue for repair and maintenance, um, it could be a lot of pages to prove that the building is required to fix the building. But it's there. It's just that we have to make people, more aware of the situation. There's also insurance requirements. So if you say, hey, I don't want to follow the building code, we're grandfathered in, we have no money, we're not going to maintain our property, we're just going to wait. Okay. The hammer is your insurance requirements. Your insurance company is requiring you to fix your building. Otherwise, they can say, um, you know what, we're going to cancel your policy. Or you guys haven't really followed what you should. So the next time there's a claim, all bets are off, and now your deductible is going to be 200,000, right? Or whatever the case is. And you probably heard it's harder and harder to get insurance now, and it's becoming more and more expensive. So if you don't feel like doing anything, your insurance is going to require you to maintain your building. Otherwise, you're stuck. Can you imagine a condo building without any insurance and they have to self-insure? That means they have to put like millions of dollars in a bank account. And so if they don't have any money to fix their building, how do you think they're going to have money to put in a savings account to be self-insured? So it's kind of a double-edged sword there. Also, construction lender requirements. If you try to get a loan, right, to fix certain things, your construction lender may say, you have to fix certain things, or you have to get 100% hurricane coverage insurance before we give you a loan. So, you wood rot, you have balconies, lanais that are like collapsing, wood rot, termite damage. You have concrete spalling on a walkway such that somebody could fall through the walkway. Um, that's not very safe, right? So you have all these conditions that basically force people to fix their building. So if you don't fix your building, right, and someone gets hurt, slip and fall, trip and fall, whatever the case is, there's liability concerns and legal issues. You don't want the lawsuit. Somebody is nice, hey, how you doing? Oh, okay. The next thing you know, oh, here you go, and they're giving you uh, a piece of paper, and the guy says, "Oh, I'm the sheriff. You've been served. You got to go to court now." That's no fun. Why do I say no fun in the courtroom? Because I've been in the courtroom. I haven't been sued, but I serve as an expert witness. And the no fun part is there's always going to be someone who lost, and it may not be one party. Maybe both parties lose. Okay? And it's because of lack of maintenance. Somebody didn't fix something and somebody got hurt and now they're suing. And do you think there's a shortage of attorneys that would represent someone that got injured? No, they're on TV, radio, right? You can find them. And all they got to do is prove that the building owner was negligent. And that's what contributed to the accident. Okay. So just be aware of that liability. Building expert recommendations. I have 3 things, very easy. Doesn't matter if you're in a condo unit, you're a property manager managing a condo building, you're in a hotel, warehouse, you're in a single family house. 3 things, very easy. Inspect it, fix it, then maintain it after it's fixed. That's the requirement. It's easy, right? It's easy for me to say these things, these 3 things, but in reality, it's not that easy to do. It's hard. It's easy to inspect. It might be easy to fix if it's small, but if it's a big thing that requires millions of dollars, might not be so easy. And then after it's fixed and maintain it, well, then you go into the repair and maintenance cycle. So that's the end. I breezed through it right away. So what's coming up for future webinars? We have the next webinar, I'll be talking about repairing or rebuilding your home after a wildfire. And I did put together that by request for the people of Lahaina, but also other parts of the United States where they're rebuilding. And it could also apply to rebuilding after a flood or tornado or hurricane. And then in December, we have home safety for the holidays. I talk about electrical, lighting your Christmas tree, things like that. Visit our website, askbuildingexpert.now.site. We also have a whole bunch of expert websites for almost every single topic: contractor licensing, asphalt, fire, life safety, roofing. I mean, it's all free. Go to our website, check out our expert websites. We have blogs here. You can read our blogs. We have previous webinars that we've given on so many different topics. I even went a little off topic on some webinars talking about ancient buildings in Italy, Sagrada Familia, the church in Barcelona, talked about the Grenfell Tower in London that caught on fire, Millennium Tower in San Francisco. So, I mean, there's a whole bunch. I lost count how many webinars I've given, and then books. I was talking to Martin this morning, and the last count, I actually wrote and published 34 books to date, which is kind of a lot. They're all available on Amazon, but here's a tip. You want to get it free, go to our website. You can download it free. I'm not sure how much more time it's going to be available for free. So you may want to download as many as you can and just save it. So when we stop giving it away free, at least you have your free copy. And we go to the Q&A part. You got questions, we got answers. So my phone number and emails on the screen, and you can contact me anytime. If you have any questions later, you can also go on our website, email me directly or call, or just post it on the various social media platforms that we're restreaming. Also, if you're on our Zoom platform, you can use our Q&A or chat feature. So I'd like to turn it over to Martin now and see if we have any questions from our esteemed audience.
Yes, well, you've done such a great job on your latest BS webinar, but we do have some questions here. The first one is, what are the most common safety issues in older buildings, and how can they be addressed proactively?
Um, hold on a second. Can you still see me?
I see you.
Okay, I tried to stop share, but somehow it
Yeah,
didn't
we,
work. But anyway, in answer to the question, the most common ones are concrete spalling repair, cracking, and corroded railing in apartment buildings and condominiums. So that's probably the number one. And then if we go to the next tier, we got piping issues and um, electrical. Although, the set it and forget it idea doesn't work. So there's a lot of buildings that need electrical inspections, but they haven't had the inspections done. So I would say concrete spalling, cracking is a concern, and then the fire life safety issues are also a concern. To me, they're all pretty much equal. So I wouldn't like give a numbering system. When people ask me, I said, you got to fix everything. Oh, but we don't have enough money. What should we do first? Then I eliminate the non-essential or non-safety things. But the cost to fix everything is still kind of big. So, I mean, that's a good question. And just, I think keep asking yourself what things should our building get fixed, and then take the necessary steps to get it fixed.
okay, thanks, Lance. The next question that came in here is how often should property inspections be conducted to ensure all safety components, like fire alarms and sprinklers, are functioning properly?
Well, you want to hear this? My answer is once a month. So once a month, the resident manager, site manager should walk around the entire building, right? If it's a 40-story high-rise building, you walk around all the common areas of the building. Here's what I do. I go to the top floor, like you have two stairways, right, on one tower, and walk down each floor. And that way I know I basically inspected every square inch. The other thing is all these closets, storage areas, and all that, you want to inspect those too, right? So I normally, when I get hired to do an inspection, I either tell the manager, you got to be there, or give me your head maintenance guy, someone who has the keys to every single closet or storage room, and I make them open it up. And they don't want to sometimes. And I got pictures of paint cans stored in an electrical room, all kinds of stuff. Christmas decorations and stuff stored, right near electrical outlet that doesn't even have a cover. I mean, so all those things are written up. But that's why I say monthly. If you do it every month, you can pretty much catch up on your list. And that's okay if the same item is on the list over and over again. That to me, that's a red flag. And I usually tell the boards, if the same item is on the list, don't you think you should do something about it? Right? Oh, we don't have money. Okay, well then you gotta somehow figure out how you gonna fix the problem. Because if you have a fire or someone gets hurt, it's on you because you were aware of the problem for the past 2 years and never did anything about it. So I said, if you don't believe me, talk to your insurance person and see what kind of opinion you get, or ask your attorney. I normally do that. I say, if you don't believe what I'm telling you, you talk to your own attorney or your insurance person and see what they say. And I guarantee the insurance person is gonna say you gotta get it fixed. The attorney is gonna say you gotta get it fixed, right? So anyway, yeah, that's the answer to that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good answer as usual. Um, the last one that I've found here is what are the legal implications if a building is found non-compliant with current safety codes and regulations?
Okay, your volume is kind of soft, so can you repeat the question?
Sure, sure. Is what are the legal implications if a building is found non-compliant with current safety codes and regulations?
Okay, thanks. Let's talk about city and county. So the building department, DPP, if something is not in compliance with the building code, they could issue a citation, right? It's called an NOV, notice of violation, and they could force uh, the building to get the problem fixed. Okay, that's the city. If it's a state or federal function, same thing. That state or federal entity could require um, remedial action, remedial work to be taken to fix the problem. So there's legal ramifications too if someone gets hurt. So, for instance, okay, the code requires a hand railing. If your hand railing is there but it's loose, does it meet the code? The answer is no, it doesn't. It meets the code to the effect that the hand railing is there, but it doesn't meet the code where the hand railing is loose, right? That the code says that the hand railing has to be solid. Okay, so that's a violation already, right? So if somebody got hurt, they fell because the hand railing was loose, right? And the person sued, right? All the attorney would need to do is have the expert testify that this isn't, this condition is not in compliant with the building code, right? And the argument might say, oh, but we're grandfathered in. You know, in the building was built in 1960, so in 1960 it didn't have the current code requirement, right? And then it's up to the expert to say, well, back then there was still a requirement, or it doesn't apply, right? So even if it was grandfathered in, but the person still got hurt because of the loose railing, common sense would dictate that, hey, you can't have a loose railing where people can get hurt, right? So, and the other thing too is if the person that got hurt is elderly, an elderly person has slower motor skills than, you know, a person that is not of elderly age, right? So, I mean, all those factors take into consideration. So, um, the bottom line in the message I'm trying to preach is that you got to maintain your buildings, right? If you look around and there's any condition where someone could possibly have an accident or get injured, then you're wrong already. You need to take steps to fix it. Now, if you don't know, then that's another thing. But the question would be, should you have known about this by hiring a professional inspector to check your building, right? If you did hire a professional, then you would have known if this condition was brought up. So it gets kind of technical, but the bottom line is either you maintain your property or there's a failure to maintain. Okay. So did that answer the question sufficiently? Martin, are you there? Maybe Martin lost power or something. So hold on here. I'm not
No, no,
sure what.
Lance, I lost voice.
Oh, so
I was muted. Sorry about that. Yeah, but that's the last of the questions that have come in. But I did have one on what you discussed about your inspection, kind of like checklist, and your repair and maintenance guides or checklist. Do you have that for the residential community, for homeowners like us to kind of do our own?
yeah, well, our inspection report is based on um, a commercial building, like a condominium building, but you could use the same form and
Okay.
apply it to your single family house, or I could make a separate one for single family owners. In fact, maybe I'll add that to the list, and make it available. Well,
Oh,
you
that
think that
sounds
would
good.
help?
I think that would help. The other thing is even you mentioned about a repair and maintenance program. Is there a guide or a checklist or something for repair and maintenance kind of follow-ups?
Well,
Like,
interesting you brought that up because I was thinking about that. What when you buy a house, like um, normally you buy a house, a used house or a new one. Today, if you buy a new house, it comes in a manual. But before, they never got you a owner's manual that said what to do. Like when you buy a car, when you buy a computer or something, there's an owner's manual that, like, I buy a car, there's this thick owner's manual that has like every single thing about how to operate the radio and your side mirrors and all that. There's basically nothing for years on you buy a house. So um, that's a good idea. Maybe we should work on that and then have it available for people to download. What do you think?
oh, I think that's a great idea, and it can help on your the real estate business side for people buying and selling homes to check off and make sure that everything is in proper shape before they buy or sell. As part of their inspection checking. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good idea.
Yeah.
Any other comments before we sign off?
Oh, no, no. Building safety, like personal safety, is got to be priority one. Yeah.
Okay, great. So on behalf of Martin and I, thank you guys for joining us. Stay tuned. Hope to see you at the next webinar. And I don't know what happened to my screen. I lost all my Zoom credentials. So Martin, I can't stop the record or whatever. So
No problem.
you'd have
I'll
to do
handle
it.
it. I'll handle
Okay,
it.
signing off. Thank you. Mahalo. Bye.
Aloha.